"Do you want to go back?" his friend asked when he'd calmed down. I don't know. I won't keep you if you're unhappy. Perhaps heaven would be safer." "Safer? What do you mean?" "Well, you see, what if that creature that attacked you comes back?" Mark's tone of voice had taken on an awkward note, making the angel suspicious. "Mark," the man avoided his eyes at being called out. "What have you been holding back?" "I didn't know how to tell you." "Tell me what?" Josh felt himself growing upset when the cold feeling returned to his stomach. "I saw who attacked you," his friend finally confessed. "He's here, looking. It's Ra who attacked you." "And you didn't think to tell me?" the angel yelled, out of fear as well as feeling left out about such an important matter. "What if he finds your home, finds me? I wouldn't even know until it's too late. I didn't know how you would react. What if you left? Or worse, what if you would want to face him?" Mark grew agitated when the words poured out of his mouth. Getting up, he paced through the kitchen. "And running away will solve this?" "Yes." "No. I don't know. I screwed up. Yes. Once again, because that's what I do. That's all I'm capable of." Mark took a deep breath before he carried on with a voice less shaky and lower. "Just go. I've seen him. He'll kill you without blinking. If you can't find your way to heaven, at least leave this country. It will buy you time." Josh shook his head with a grim face. "That's the reason I'm still here, even if I want to go home. I don't want to leave you. I don't know what to do." Mark only looked at him in confusion and dismay. The seraphim knew enough about the pagan gods of old. They once were angels that had fallen together with Lucifer after the rebellion. He might be terrifying to a human, but he was nothing compared to Josh. The knowledge of who it was that had attacked him gave the seraphim new courage. This was no invincible beast, just an old god, a self-proclaimed god. "You seem unafraid," Mark uttered. "I am not afraid," Josh gave his friend a smile. "Do you know who Ra is?" "Well, he is the Egyptian god of the sun. He once was a common angel, Mark. A malachim, nothing more. He fell with the rebel and then escaped hell to become an idol to the mortals." "But you aren't a pure seraphim anymore. You feel." The man voiced his doubts. "That shouldn't matter. I still have my powers," Josh answered with confidence. What did he have to fear from a former common angel, a demon? Although he saw doubt in Mark's eyes, the angel discarded it. Instead, he suggested for them to go out for a walk. His friend, however, was tired, and they had to delay their tour until the next day. Josh was aware of the fact that Mark was going to work. The man had asked him if he really wanted to be with him. "It's nothing but a boring store," Mark uttered as the cold wind blew through the streets. Snowflakes covered the asphalt and occasional cobblestones. Most people were at home, preparing for another workday, whilst the two friends were on the street in the darkness. "You can't be with me for 8 hours, you know." "I will be hidden away, but I will be in touch," Josh smiled at his friend. "I can, of course, take a tour through the city if you'd rather like that. And find Ra. No way. If you're around, I can at least hope to keep an eye on you." Mark's voice sounded tense as he trudged through the thin blanket of snow which started to form. The angel would have liked to be done with Ra until his friend came home from work, but Mark had forbidden him to do anything reckless. The seraphim sighed into the cold air, observing his cloud of breath slowly dissipating. After taking the late bus, which wasn't much emptier than at daytime, they came to a large shopping center. Upon entering, Josh realized that it was nearly abandoned. Why is it open if no one's here? Someone might drop by from time to time. I like it. No people, no boss. Only me and my job. Mark seemed to be genuinely happy as he said that. His friends seemed to have so little reasons to be happy that this small moment made Josh smile in response. When Mark went to do his work, Josh wandered through the store. It was a terribly large area with terribly many products. There was something like a sitting area with food too, although the fresh pastries and sandwiches weren't available at night. He let himself sink down on one of the sofa-like sitting opportunities. It wasn't bad, but not as comfy as the stuff at home. Surely the LED lights did their part in the experience. From time to time the angel spotted a security guard, but none of the humans noticed him and his shuffling feet. Deciding to check on Mark, he went back. His friend had a customer, although he seemed very tense. Mark, is everything— Don't! Mark barked at him, but it was already too late. When the stranger turned to the angel, Josh saw a handgun pointing at his friend. There was no time to lose. His friend was in danger. Mark, however, seemed to have read his friend's mind. Still holding eye contact, the man slightly shook his head and pointed at the cam at the corner of the ceiling. Josh wasn't eager to reveal himself on tape. He couldn't just scare that man senseless. Unimpressed by the sudden company, the stranger only gestured with his gun towards Josh. Come on, youngster. Hand over the cash. I can't do that, sir. Are you deaf? Came the agitated answer, followed by the raising of the barrel. Still standing like petrified, Josh opened an eye in the palm of his hand to look around behind him. None of the security guards were close enough to notice. Another opened on the back of the other hand to glance to his right. An idea formed in his head when he noticed the shelf full of chocolate bars next to him. The rustling of the paper as he attempted to open one of the treats let the robber turn back to him. Don't move, or you'll be singing with the angels. But I thought, well, if you take what you want, Josh explained into the barrel full of innocence. The robber tried to conceal it, but he did falter for a moment in the face of such strange behavior. He quickly caught himself pushing the gun into Josh's stomach. Taking the opportunity of the cams being blocked out, Josh took the man by his hoodie. That doesn't work on me. The angel breathed into the robber's ear, full of menacing eeriness. The man's spine stiffened immediately. Meanwhile, Mark was already alarming security, but when the trigger was pulled, he stopped dead. Josh kept grinning in his confidence whilst the man's face turned white. The guards came only seconds later, alarmed by the gunshot, but all they found was a confused and scared robber with a discharged gun, and Mark, who lied about the bullet having missed. None of them asked specific questions due to the relief as well as the eagerness to call the police. Josh was hiding back in the employee's room for that time. The stammered, incohesive words of the robber were regarded with a certain amount of disinterest. By the time Mark came checking on his friend, the wound had already healed. Josh, his friend called out, eased by the well-being of the angel. That was dangerous. Lead doesn't kill me. You, on the other hand, could have died here. Robberies happen, although this was my first. Good I was here then, Josh replied jokingly. Yeah, Mark chuckled with awkwardness. Perhaps you should stay here, I only have an hour left. Making himself comfortable, the angel remained in the chair. The encounter had thrilled him quite a bit. Finally finished with his shift, Mark came back to change so they could be off. His friend looked tired after the eventful night. Dawn hadn't come yet. At 6 o'clock, the world was just crawling out of bed and going to work. Josh was unsure of what had exposed him. Perhaps his will to meet the one who had attacked him from above. He might have sent out a signal to Ra unintentionally by wanting to find him. All he knew was the sudden gust of cold wind that let the queasy feeling in his stomach rise once again. Ra stepped out of the shadows of a niche in a small alley. Mark liked to take abandoned ways to remain in solitude on his way home. When the man with the head of the hawk cut off the way, Mark stood like petrified. The deep orange eyes of Ra and the turquoise ones of the serpent around his neck remained fixed on Josh at once. A faint grin crept into Ra's expression. "Hiding like a mortal. How brave for an angel of the Lord," came the taunting words, which were emphasized by a subtle hiss. "I have no need to hide from a fallen," Josh countered in a voice cold as steel. Stepping forward, he took Mark by the shoulder. "Go home, it's dangerous." But his friend only shrugged him off. Stepping aside, he remained in the alley. Ra's beak opened, uttering echoing laughter at the gesture. "I had you before, Angel. I'll have you again." "Why don't you just leave him?" Mark dared to ask, upon which the serpent hissed angrily. Ra stroked the black scales to appease the other entity. "No need to be upset, Apophis. He is just a curious child." The arrogant tone was accompanied by a condescending smile. "Do you know what the God of the Jews did to my Egypt?" he asked calmly with smoldering eyes. Mark replied by nodding. Of course he knew. It stood in the Bible how God had punished Pharaoh for enslaving his people. He had sent plagues and in the end his army of angels to slay every firstborn in Egypt. "After millennia you still hold a grudge," Josh uttered bewildered, "against your father. My father cast me down for wanting freedom. He punished my children, and then he took them from me." Turning away from Mark, Ra stepped closer to the angel. "A seraphim crossed my skies, and I knew what I had to do. When I take your power for my own, I might be able to let my people believe once again. Believe in their old gods instead of Almighty Allah. My power would kill you," Josh shot back. Hot anger tainted his cutting tone. "I am Ra," the god thundered. "I am the god of the sun. I am fire." In the blink of an eye, Ra was holding a spear. Apophis slithered to the ground, circling the angel. The blade of the spear missed Josh by mere inches as it plunged into the ground where his feet had been. Apophis launched, but the teeth only met a kick from the seraphim, which sent the serpent a few feet. Unfolding only 2 wings, he catapulted himself farther into the sky, away from people's eyes, away from Mark. Ra followed, his wings like burning fire. The cry of a hawk announced the god's appearance right before he tried to slash across Josh's torso. The angel dodged by spinning to the left. Being close enough, he placed his hand on Ra's head. "Let me purge the world of you, demon." But when he wanted to destroy his enemy with fire, nothing happened. The seraphim were known as the Burning Ones. Purifying fire was their essence. The moment of hesitation proved fatal when Ra buried one of his clawed hands in Josh's abdomen. The angel gasped from the pain. He was feeling the pain even more this time, like a human. Something inside him had changed. Pure divinity and humanity cannot exist in the same being. The pain let Josh react differently from what he might have done otherwise. Foreign instincts guided by intuition had taken over. When Ra wielded his spear again with the other hand, Josh punched him in the face. The old god was paralyzed for a second, giving the seraphim the chance to kick the weapon out of his hand. The first beams of the sun let the spear glint as it fell down to earth. Relieved of his weapon, Ra buried his beak in the angel's shoulder. Shedding his human form, Josh unleashed his angelic light. It blinded Ra enough to break free, yet it did not burn the fallen angel or harm him in any other way. Usually a seraphim's light would burn everything sentient. That's why they covered themselves with their wings when approaching humans. That's why they served as the highest around God's throne. They were the purest creation, the brightest beings, bringers of light. Ra came again. The old god had the advantage. Seraphim couldn't be harmed. They didn't need weapons, armor, or claws. They were perfect instruments of God's purifying will. His transformation to a more human existence had stripped him of that privilege. Ra's claws slashed and raked across the angel whenever he couldn't avoid them. His many burning eyes had no effect on the old god, and the pain started to blur Josh's vision. He couldn't lose his consciousness. Ra would take the angel with him to Egypt, and being a master of alchemy, he would harvest the angel's essence for his needs. He would fade and die. Pure fear coursed through his veins at the possible future if he didn't flee. Still dazed by his failure, Josh let himself fall down. Like the last time, he crashed into the ground. He had managed to land in the same alley where Apophis was already waiting. Mark, having found some utensil from a trash can, was trying to protect his friend. "He is stronger than me," was all Josh could say when he changed into his human shape. "How can he be stronger than me? He is just a fallen." Worry shimmered in Mark's eyes when he looked at his friend for a second before Apophis, having increased in size, launched again with bared teeth. The angel kept his senses clear with great effort. They had to flee before Ra would come down. "Mark," he cried out. "Mark, come to me." His friend wasn't able to question. Time was running out. When Josh changed into a large white serpent with 6 pairs of wings and scales covered in fiery eyes, Mark struggled onto his back. Apophis wanted to stand in the angel's way. Again, Josh just countered the attack, this time with his tail. Blood flew everywhere, staining walls and ground when Josh half flew, half slithered to safety. He flew for a long time to Edinburgh's outskirts before assuring himself that Ra wasn't following. Only Mark's soft words telling him that he'd bleed out if they didn't go home let the angel yield. He didn't want Ra to know where Mark lived. The old god might come after his friend to force Josh to deliver himself, with or without that information. Josh's wounds still bled when they reached home. Mark let him sit down in the shower while he tried to stop the bleedings. Feeling terribly cold, Josh kept his wings wrapped around his body whenever possible. "He beat me. A demon defeated me. Have I fallen from grace?" Mark didn't answer. There was nothing to answer. None of them knew the reason for the angel's weakened powers. "Am I becoming human, Mark? I don't know. I don't know how to help you." Josh tried to smile, even if he was sure it didn't look much like one. When he later stood in front of the bathroom mirror, he took a close look at himself. "I'm an angel of the Lord. I'm a divine being. I'm... He let his head and gaze sink to the ground. "Father, I'm lost.